You are watching Kendrick's Collection.
It means another whole year of boarding school!
Hello everybody, this is Kendrick and welcome back to my collection. And today I'll be telling another Ernest the Engine story I made for this holiday season. As you can see, this one's a very special story. And I call it Ernest Rescues Christmas. Now I know what you may be thinking, but it's not like that one movie called Ernest Saves Christmas. I didn't copy this story from that movie because I don't know what that movie is. I haven't even heard of that movie at all once I made this, so please stop saying I copied it. You know, I am thinking about making another Ernest the Engine story because the 3 stories I've made so far were for 3 of the most common seasons: winter, summer, and autumn. But then when I once asked my new robot Vector, which I will be reviewing for next Christmas, what his favorite season is, he said that he likes spring. So I've decided to just say that my first Ernest the Engine story was for spring, and the next one I might be making will be a story in the summertime. For now it's about Christmas time, so we're just gonna go with Ernest Rescues Christmas. You can see the logo here, and it's also featuring Bodgy Builder and Barry the Engine and Friends. And this story was made by me. So please enjoy. It was Christmas Eve on the island of Sodor, and Gail, the guard's compartment, was very curious. While she'd been out to collect coaches, Ernest the engine car had somehow put up a poster on the shed, despite having no arms.
What have you got there, Ernest?
Asked Gail. It's a poster of a Christmas party coming to Sodor, said Ernest. And it's happening today, said Stevie the steam train, who was sending up green balloons while reading a book about Christmas instructions and waiting for a gust of wind to turn the page. I heard it's going to be the most exciting Christmas party ever. Oh, yes it will, said Sir Topham Hatt coming out of Gale's coaches. It will be unbelievably out of this world. Would you like to hear about it? I'm all ears, said Ernest, which is odd since he doesn't have any ears at all. Well, there will be fresh green Christmas trees, a bunch of presents for everyone, red and green balloons, and Christmas lights for decorations, said Sir Topham Hatt. But that's not all. We'll also be having ice skating, Christmas treats and foods, products for people to buy, some fun bounce houses and playgrounds, some storytelling for customers, and best of all, they get to take pictures with you 3, the Budgie Gang, and of course our favorite Christmas person, Santa Claus, with some of his elves. The engines were over extremely excited for this. The decorations are right at the docks. Ernest, said Sir Topham Hatt, I think you shall collect them. Yes, sir, whistled Ernest. Meanwhile, at Bodgy Building CO, Bodgy Builder, Wendy the office manager, and Dozy the dump truck were ready to pick up Santa Claus and his elves for the Christmas party. I can't wait to bring Santa for the Christmas party, said Dozy. Me neither, said Bodgy. Later on, they stopped at Wellsworth to collect Santa Claus and his elves. They waited for a bit, but then after that moment, Santa and his elves were supposed to be seen, but they weren't. That's strange, said Bodgy. Santa and his elves aren't here.
They aren't?
Asked Wendy.
Where are they?
Later on, after Ernest came in the train yard with the cargo, the Bodgy gang had arrived at the train yard. Bodgy told Sir Topham Hatt about what happened. Sir Topham Hatt was very surprised. It will take more than 3 engines to find him, he said. I know some engines who can help us, said Stevie. Good, said Sir Topham Hatt. Take care while I'm off to collect Dowager Hat, Lady Hat, and Salome Hat. Stevie was ready to roll out. Ernest gathered his handy freight cars and catched up with the others. The other engines followed Stevie and were wondering where he's taking them. After a while, they arrived at the narrow gauge railway, and up ahead were 3 little narrow gauge engines who recognized him. Hi, Stevie, they shouted. Hi, guys, Stevie responded. Ernest, Gale, and the Bodgy gang were surprised. Who are these engines? Asked Ernest. This is my cousin Barry, the black engine, said Stevie. And these are his best friends. There's Leonard, the big green diesel, and Axel, the yellow tank engine. The other engines were a pleasure to meet them, and Stevie even introduced them as well. Just then, another narrow-gauge engine steamed over to the group. "Don't forget me," he cried. "Whoops," Stevie alarmed. "I forgot about Gary, the lime engine." Stevie told the narrow engines about the news and asked if they can help him look for Santa Claus and his elves. The narrow engines were very surprised. "Oh dear," said Barry. "A Christmas party without Santa Claus and elves? That doesn't sound correct at all," said Leonard. "We'll help you find them in no time." "Thank you very much," said Stevie. Ernest had an idea. "We should look for him separately to find him faster," he said. "Great idea," said Stevie. Everyone else agreed as well, and they knew they had to look as hard as they could. When everyone was ready, they all blew their horns and whistles and then rolled out on the rails. "Well then," said Bodgy, "can we budge it?"
Yes, we can,
said his crew, and off they rolled down the road. Everyone was more than happy to rescue Santa Claus and his elves. While everyone was searching, Ernest looked all around Sodor. He first looked where Gale was looking in the train yard. Then he looked where Stevie was looking at the countryside. Then he looked where the Bodgy gang was looking at Bodgy Building CO. Ernest had looked everywhere on Sodor, but he couldn't find them anywhere. He really wanted to know where Santa Claus and his elves were, so he went to ask the narrow engines if they found them. Of course, they haven't. "Sorry, Ernest," said Barry. "We still can't find them at all." Ernest still wanted to find Santa Claus and his elves, so he started to search around Sodor again. But after about 2 hours, he stopped at Bredham Docks and decided to give up by going to his engine sheds and tell Sir Topham Hatt that Santa Claus and his elves aren't on Sodor. Suddenly, he heard a cry for help in one of the shipping containment boxes on the other sidings. Ernest was too scared to go, but he also knew that it's important to give people a hand, even though he doesn't have hands. He went towards the shipping containment box. His driver and fireman opened the lock, and who could it be but Santa Claus and his elves? Then there was also another big engine that startled Ernest. It wasn't a big, horrifying engine. It was another engine known as the Flying Scotsman. "Heaving hooks," surprised Ernest. "Santa Claus and his elves, I finally found you." "Why, yes you did," said Santa Claus. "And it's nice to meet you. Say, what's your name?" "I'm Ernest the Engine Cart," he said. "I gotta ask, what took you guys so long?" He asked unnecessarily because he was still afraid of the big green engine. "I was trying to bring Santa Claus and his elves to Wellsworth Station," said the Flying Scotsman. "But then I accidentally took a wrong turn to this shipping containment box. And then as soon as I came in here, I somehow ran out of water and then I couldn't reverse." Ernest now felt sorry for them and then realized the Flying Scotsman wasn't so scary, but he knew exactly what to do. "Don't worry, I'll pull you guys out," he said. He went to the nearest turntable to turn around. Then he backed up to the Flying Scotsman. Once he coupled him up, he blew his horn proudly and rolled out to the train yard. "Okay, everyone," he said, "let's roll." Santa and his elves were very happy. They cheered for Ernest. Even the Flying Scotsman did. He felt very excited. He was going to drive full steam ahead. "Slow down, Ernest," laughed Santa. "We don't want anyone falling out of me," said the Flying Scotsman. Ernest continued to roll at a very steady speed. He couldn't wait to show all of his friends that he rescued Santa Claus, his elves, and even the big new green engine. "I think the Fat Controller will be very pleased to see you with all of us rescued," said Santa. Meanwhile, at the train yard, after all the decorations were set up, all the other engines arrived, including Sir Topham Hatt and his family. All the engines told him that Santa Claus and his elves are nowhere to be found on Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt felt disappointed. "This is a complete disaster," he said. "If there's no Santa Claus, we can't have a Christmas party. It'll have to be delayed." Everyone felt very sad. They've decided to turn back and return to their shed without a word on the rest of the whole way back. Then suddenly, they heard a familiar horn that was far away. It was Ernest coming down the track with Santa Claus, his elves, and the Flying Scotsman. Everyone in the train yard instantly became very happy. When Ernest arrived, he put the Flying Scotsman next to the water tower and coal. Once Ernest dropped off Santa and his elves, He went back into the shed, and then every driver and fireman had decorated each engine with fairy lights on their cab and side tanks. Even Dozy got decorated by Baji and Wendy. While they were decorating, other people had finished setting up everything Sir Topham Hatt said of what the Christmas party will have. Then everyone turned all of it on, and boy, was it such a Christmas miracle. Ernest looked at his friends and said, "This was such an interesting search for Santa Claus."
It sure was,
said Gail.
Well, Merry Christmas, Ernest.
"Merry Christmas, Gail," said Ernest. Then eventually, Ernest and Gail had finally found their true Christmas love, which was how Gail became pregnant. "Oh yes, Merry Christmas, you guys," Stevie joined in. "Merry Christmas, everyone."
Merry Christmas, Stevie,"
said Ernest, Gail, and Barry. Just then, Sir Topham Hatt thought of a great idea for Ernest being such a splendid, helpful engine to rescue Santa, his elves, and the Flying Scotsman that same day. He whispered to Santa Claus all about it. "Why, what an excellent gift plan," said Santa Claus. "Since he's on the good list, he'd definitely be getting something for entertaining all the people." Sir Topham Hatt was very pleased. Later on in that Christmas Eve night, all the engines were getting ready for bed. They were thrilled to have such a wonderful holiday party that the Baji Gang and the Narrow Engines decided to spend Christmas Day in the train yard. Sir Topham Hatt gladly accepted for all of them to stay, since he and his family are also staying that day. All the engines said goodnight to each other, and before they went to sleep, they looked up and saw a zooming thing in the sky. Ernest and Stevie were delighted. They knew who it was. The next morning was Christmas Day, and everyone was very excited. Each person got their gift, but Ernest couldn't find his. He looked inside the shed, and his driver noticed the gift with a card that said, "To Ernest from Santa," at the back wall. "Here it is, Ernest," he said. They moved out of the shed, and his driver opened it for him. It was a certificate being a pass ticket for going beyond Sodor. "That's right, Ernest," said Sir Topham Hatt. "For being such a very splendid and reliable engine, I thought you could do something very epic. You and maybe the other engines could be in another railway, touring around outside Sodor. How would you like to open your own place at different countries in their different states?" Ernest was very, very, very excited he could blow his horn. "Oh, thank you, sir," he said cheerily. "In fact, if the state in my place has enough room for the others, we could use Stevie staying at one place as a climbing train like he's been wanting since he's been wanting to get this job. He could even get a TV screen installed to show the kids our TV show and other kids' shows. And he can stay next to the shop for the kids' treats, even though he still wants to be unbolted on the tracks. And Gail could pass around the people cleaning the track once the place opens while looking like she's decorated for a parade because she told us that she's going to be in a parade Stevie wanted to join. And for the Baji Gang, they could be in a toddler's playground that looks like Baji Building CO with the Baji Gang inside it. We could call the place the Ernest Railroad Festival." All the engines were so excited, they all blew their whistles and horns and had the greatest Christmas time ever. And after New Year's came, all the engines went to the USA, UK, and Australia to open the Ernest Railroad Festival. The end. I hope you've enjoyed this Ernest the Engine story I've made, and please stay tuned for more of Kendrick's Ernest the Engine and Others stories, such as the new story I am planning to make, but in case I don't, this might be the end of my Ernest the Engine children's book series. And that's it for this video, folks. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and share with your friends, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, and a Happy New Year.